Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Tyler Day. I'm the co-founder of optimizetoconvert.com. We've been in the internet marketing space since 2012, and we've done 8 figures in affiliate commissions online. So what I'm here to talk about for today are basically some tips that I have for you guys in order to just really crush it in 2021. So 2020 was a really challenging year for people. We were really challenged to our limits in 2020 as far as just having different issues going on with business and economical things that just really threw everything off kilt and related to the health crisis. But what we're going to talk about for today, because I really don't like to focus on the negative side of things. I'm really a solutions-oriented person. So whenever things are going wrong, I'm really not going to be the one that just, sits around and thinks about everything that's wrong, but rather I like to think about what could we be doing right? What are ways that we could change our thinking or change our actions in order to come out of this better, and come out of this much, much stronger than before, right? So what we're going to talk about today are just some tips that I have for you guys to really just go into 2021 with the right mindset, okay? So the first tip that I have for you guys, first and foremost, is to just completely unplug from social media and from news. So, this is something that I've actually been doing for a long time. So I've always sort of ignored the news. When I was younger, I remember reading a lot of personal development books that would talk about negativity in the media, and it talked about how much of a toll that can take on just your emotional energy as an entrepreneur. And really, we just don't need that, right? So every day on the news, their agenda is to basically grab your attention with negative news stories, since that's what the human mind sort of gravitates to the most. And, their agenda is to make more money, because the more attention equals more dollars. But that agenda comes at the cost of your own mental health, really. Your own capacity to focus and be productive and just be, contributing member to society really gets diminished the more that you're kind of plugged into these sort of news fear media outlets. And it's not just the news. A lot of it comes from social media too, because like we all saw in 2020, people can tend to be the ones that propagate the fear mostly above and beyond the media. People posting things on Facebook or, on their timeline, freaking out about this or that. It's just not healthy, and it's not productive to tune into that stuff. So the best thing that you can do is just to completely unplug from all that and just get off of social media, stop watching the news, and just even doing that alone is going to be a huge step forward, okay? So the next aspect is to actually don't save money. Tip number 2 I have for you for 2021, this might sound counterintuitive, okay? But it's actually to not save money. Rather, you need to invest money, okay? So in 2020, the US government basically announced that they were going to, for a period of time, take inflation higher than 2% a year in order to get the economy back on track. And, we've seen this now with the stock market, all-time highs and just, record-breaking numbers for how fast the economy's recovered. It's all great, but it comes at a cost, and the cost is your buying power and the money that you have in your bank account. So if you're somebody that has savings, if you have cash in your bank account, it's really not in your best interest anymore to actually save that cash. Counterintuitively to what people might think, whenever there's a massive crisis, there tends to be a run towards cash and just keeping your money in a safe place that, isn't going to get disrupted by, stock market or whatever health crisis, whatever else is going on. Generally, people run to cash. But the issue with this is that what people don't realize is that while you're sitting on cash, the government is just printing trillions and trillions of dollars that are then going into circulation and devaluing the cash, right? So something like 20% of all US dollars in circulation were printed in 2020. So most people don't think about this. 99% of people don't think about this, but this has terrible effects on your savings. And, you might think that you're, standing still, but in reality, you're actually getting pulled underwater by all this extra money in circulation that's now devalued the money that you have. So what that means is that you just sitting in cash is not an option. Maybe it was at the 2% inflation rates, but really the real inflation rate is not 2%. It's a lot higher than that. So you need to be careful about that. Okay, so you need to invest money, and you need to invest money in appreciating assets that are going to go up in value above and beyond the rate of inflation, which could be anywhere between like 5 to 20% in a year right now, with how much money is being created. Okay, so above and beyond that, if you're somebody that doesn't have a lot of money, and you're not looking to make outside investments into markets or into different assets, then what you need to do is you need to invest in yourself. And if you've never invested before, then this is where you need to start. So tip number 3 that I have for you is to invest in yourself. So this is where I started out myself. When I started in internet marketing in 2012, when I had $300 in my bank account, all the investment that I would make was basically into myself and my own business, trying to figure out how to do internet marketing. So that was the first initial investment that I made, was just into myself, just buying courses, buying coaching, going to different masterminds, going to different events, buying paid media to learn what worked and what didn't work. That was the initial investment that I made in myself. That's now compounded in, way more than the amount that I started with. Okay, so if you're looking to do something with the cash that you have in your bank account and you're not, a savvy investor, then you need to start with yourself, and you need to, you just need to do it, because, like I said, if you think you're standing still, you're really not, because the way that things are moving with the rate of inflation, if you're just sitting in money in your bank account, it's getting devalued. So you can either invest that into outside assets, or you can actually invest that into yourself. And I think that investing in yourself at first and foremost is going to have the highest return if you've never invested in anything else. Because at the end of the day, you have the most control over yourself. And if you're investing in a business that you own and you control, it actually lowers the risk, because you have control over that business. If you're investing in the stock market, you don't really know what's going on with different stocks and different businesses. There could be something completely different going on behind the scenes that you just have no idea about or no control over. So that's probably not the best place to start. Okay, so tip number 4 is to not wait for motivation. So it's very, very hard to stay motivated when all around you there's just different social problems, health crisis, economic crisis, social issues all around, riots. It's very, very distracting, and it's very demotivating as a human in this time. So what you need to do is you need to not rely on motivation, and instead you basically need to force yourself to move forward. So if you feel like you're in a state of being stagnant, if you feel like you're in a state of not progressing, if you're, have literally just, not been working or not been doing anything, the best thing that you can do is to basically just take baby steps forward and just force yourself to move forward and to start to build momentum for yourself. So really what I would recommend doing is just every day setting a very, very small goal for yourself as far as just something that you want to accomplish that day. And just make it something very, very simple as far as, just taking some sort of basic action towards a goal that you set for yourself. And, really these baby steps and these are going to be the hardest to take. If you've never, started your own business or gone out on your own, it's probably going to be super intimidating to actually take that step forward. But the best thing that you can do is just take a baby step forward, because these baby steps will eventually compound and build momentum into much bigger steps and then leaps to really get your growth going. So just don't stay stagnant. You know, if you have to, just force yourself to do something, even if it doesn't work out. The action is the most important part. And you can't wait for motivation, because chances are you're not going to be motivated, especially during these times. Okay. So tip number 5 that I have for you is to develop specific knowledge in lucrative areas. Okay. So developing specific knowledge comes down to basically learning skills that can earn you money, right? So the skill that I chose to develop specific knowledge in at a very young age was affiliate marketing. And it's an area that I've been in since I was 17 years old. I'm 26 now, so it's been 9 years. And I've developed a lot of specific knowledge in this one area that's been very lucrative. You know, it's helped me start multiple different businesses. It's helped me just do well financially for myself and help others build their own businesses. And, you know, it's been a great skill. So the marketing space is obviously lucrative because, you know, every company in the world needs sales. And in order to get sales, you need marketing, right? So it's just one of those areas where there's a lot of money in it, and developing specific knowledge in this area can really, really pay off. So that's just one example. You know, you could also choose to, you know, look into finance or just other different areas where you can earn money. It doesn't have to be marketing, but what you have to do is you have to develop specific knowledge. You know, you have to really get good at doing just certain things, whether it be, you know, media buying or trading stocks or whatever it's going to be. Okay, so tip number 6 is to basically keep an eye out for unique opportunities with low amounts of competition. So especially now, like in the online advertising space, it's very, very hard to compete in areas where everyone else is competing with each other. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to basically keep an eye out for unique opportunities. So, for example, one thing that we started to do this year was to run ads in Spanish. So that was just a unique opportunity. We noticed that there wasn't a whole lot of competition in the US for people running lead generation offers to a Spanish language demographic. So that was something that we did, and we've been having success running offers in Spanish during this year. So that's just one example, but yeah, keep an eye out for areas where there isn't tons and tons of competition. You know, all the success that we've had for the most part has been with very unique opportunities in the marketing space. So promoting offers that didn't have a lot of other competition, that people weren't really focusing on at the time, and we were able to really push those things to market and profit off of those new ideas or new opportunities. Okay, so tip number 7 I have for you is to ask yourself, what is not going to change in the next 10 years? So when people are looking into the future, looking to start a business, they'll ask themselves, what is the future going to look like in 10 years? What's going to change? What are the innovations? That's one way of thinking about things, but a better way to think about it, and this is something that Jeff Bezos had said, is what's not going to change in 10 years? And, you know, that's a much better way to look at things, because then you can plan and build a business around something that's still going to exist that far in the future. Because, you know, getting into business, it's a long-term thing. You need to have really like a 10-year mindset of building something and creating something and getting, you know, getting the business built over that long period of time. So instead of thinking about, you know, what are the future innovations, you know, what are things going to change and look like, think about what's not going to change. So for example, email marketing. People have been opening their email since the late 90s. You know, still today, I open my email multiple times a day. That's an example of something that is not going to change in the next 10 years, most likely, unless there's some massive disruption that doesn't currently exist yet. It's likely that in 10 years, people will still be opening their email. Same with using stuff like Google search or even social media with dominant networks like Facebook. It could not change. I mean, so anyways, guys, these are the points for today. So, the main summary that I have for you today is to don't get complacent and don't get stagnant. So, the whole way that people react whenever there's a crisis is to basically get stagnant with their action and also their finances, as far as not really taking action and not really, just sort of sitting on top of their cash and hoarding it. That's not really going to get you anywhere. If anything, it's probably going to leave you behind. As inflation progresses, we need to be thinking about ways that we can multiply capital and that we can push ourselves forward to, outpace these negative forces that are working against us, as far as, the rate of inflation going up dramatically, or just different things going on in the world, right? So anyways, guys, I have full faith that you're going to be able to crush it in 2021. I hope these videos were helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.